Yes guys and girls, how you doing? Welcome back to another video on my channel. Today we've got the Gameweek 3 watch list. So this will really consist of in my opinion, the top 5 teams for this week and their top 5 players to pick. So first up, I've gone for Everton. I've placed them at 5th because Crystal Palace away isn't an easy fixture. Crystal Palace have beat Southampton at home and Manchester United away this season. But I think Everton have also, in their own right, upgraded their team quite a lot. So they're definitely going to be a threat all season long. So I think there's some good players to pick for Everton. So I've gone for Jordan Pickford. Not necessarily for the clean sheet. It's a possibility, but it's also just for that save bonus. I think he could pick up 3 saves in this game and get an extra point, which you might get. So you might get more points with him rather than another goalkeeper who won't get a clean sheet. Next up, I've got the 2 fullbacks. I've got Coleman and Digne, just because they're going to provide a threat going forward. It's cheaper than having some of the attacking options for Everton, especially having Digne. He's just such a threat on free kicks, corners, and just crosses into the box really. So they're definitely a good consideration, especially if they could get a clean sheet. My striking option, I've gone for Calvert-Lewin. I've left out Richarlison from this list purely because of his price. I think 8 million is quite a lot. So if you could try and save that money, invest it elsewhere. Calvert-Lewin's a good option anyway. Scoring a hat-trick, it's very impressive. And then finally, I've got James Rodriguez. He's off to a flying start, isn't he? For Everton, I thought he might have been a slow burner, but no, he's kind of hit that ground running now, and is definitely a good option for any FPL team. Next up in 4th, I've gone for Man United against Brighton. The only reason why they're not higher is just because they lost to Crystal Palace at home. They didn't look that good in the cup against Luton. I know it's a rotated team, but it still had some first team players in it. They only looked good when some of the big guns came off the bench and scored really late on. But yeah, I think Man United need to get the ball rolling now. You can't drop that many points at the start of the season. So if they're going to win the games, it's going to come from these players, isn't it really? Martial's your striker, Fernandes is your main playmaker, Greenwood and Rashford are just your wingers, the goal-scoring wingers, and Wan-Bissaka's the biggest threat from their defence to get assists or a goal. Wan-Bissaka's also an option just for that clean sheet bonus, Brighton aren't the main, really that big of a goal-scoring team. I know they scored 3 against Newcastle, but that's Newcastle, not Manchester United. So yeah, it's a possibility of a clean sheet, and I think these are your best options until they sign some more players. Tottenham, I've gone for 3rd. Again, they're not higher, just because Newcastle are a really hit and miss team. You never know how they're going to play. That you can definitely expect them to try and be tough to break down. That's what you're going to expect from from Newcastle. But if Spurs are going to break Newcastle down, it's going to be with these sorts of players. So I'll start off with Lucas and Bergwijn. One of them's going to start. One of them will come on from the bench. So they're both an option. Later on in the game, they're going to have full of energy, full of pace to contribute to a goal. So they're good options. Doherty from the back. He is going to be the wing back that's a threat, as opposed to Davis or Reguilon when he comes into the team. If Doherty can pick up that form that he had for Wolves, then Spurs have got a very good option going forward. And then finally, the 2 premiums, I've gone for Heung-min Son and Harry Kane. They scored 4 goals and got 1 goal and 4 assists respectively. That's a crazy week last week against Southampton. And if Spurs can replicate that in any way, then they're going to give you a good points return. So try and fit these sort of players into your team if you can. Number 2, I've tried not to be biased as an Aston Villa fan, but I do think we're going to be a threat this week. It's Fulham away. Fulham not really poor, they're a championship club, and I just think we could have a good game week here for Aston Villa. Last time we went to a newly promoted team, it was Norwich, and we beat them 5-1 away. So can we run riot again? Based on the game against against Leeds, that finished 4-3, and the game the week before, I think Aston Villa could score a fair few goals. So who's going to score those sorts of goals? You're going to have Ollie Watkins, you're going to have Jack Grealish, and maybe Bertrand Traore. Traore is a questionable one because we don't know if he's actually going to start and how he is going to start. But if anything, if his career stats are anything to go by, he's a good option. Jack Grealish, we all know how much of a threat he is. He carried Aston Villa last season. He should be in most FPL teams because he's going to get you a similar points return, if not better. And then Ollie Watkins, again, unproven in the Premier League, but he scored 26 goals last year, I think, and to be honest, he looks really good against Sheffield United. He was threatening all game and should have had a couple goals himself. So I've gone for a couple defensive picks as well, because Matty Cash, you could get the clean sheet. He could also get assists because he's got a dangerous cross on him on that right side. And I've gone for Ezri Konsa, not just because he scored that goal against Sheffield United, but it's just about clean sheets. He's cheaper than Tyrone Mings and Cash. Yeah, he's just a little option really. I mean, if he can score more goals from set pieces like he has been doing, then yeah, it makes him very good value for money. And at number one, I am going for Chelsea away at West Brom. I think they should be the best team to pick this week, but it's questionable. It can be questionable because Chelsea haven't really been like easy, free flowing, playing football. Havertz hasn't done very good so far, and Timo Werner hasn't scored a goal yet in Chelsea, like as a what's it called, a proper game. I'm just going to call it. I know he scored in that friendly against Brighton, but he hasn't scored in like a proper game. But yeah, if anyone's going to score the goals, it's going to be Timo Werner. He's the striker. If anyone's going to get you assists or goals as well, you're going to have Havertz and Mount on the wing. I know you got Jorginho I've put in there because he's on penalties, and he's just in that midfield as well. He can provide assists, so he's definitely an option to consider at 5 million. And then my defensive option, I've gone for Reece James because he is quite cheap. He scored against Brighton. The Chelsea, I would expect a clean sheet against West Brom, so that makes Reece James a really attractive option, I would say. So yeah, let me know what you guys think in the comment section down below of these 5 teams and the 25 players that I've picked. I think they're good options, but obviously it's my opinion. So yeah, let me know what you think, and I'll be sure to check out the comments. Yeah, peace.